Vossy. Everything seemed to be going pretty rosy late in the first half, but then there was a pretty spectacular fall-off in the end. How did you sort of observe it?
Oh, it was probably that. Some of the better footy that we've played this year, I thought, for a half. So didn't necessarily see that coming, that's for sure, the second half. But didn't feel like we had the energy for the entirety of the game. And they dialed up a couple of things, and we weren't able to absorb it, and so the game sort of, changed. We held on through the third quarter. Obviously we're losing territory badly, but we're still able to hold on. So we defended for a pretty large part of that quarter, and maybe just sort of having to defend for that long, and took the energy out of us for the last quarter. So it didn't seem like we had enough punch to be able to finish off the game that we wanted to. So we'll look back at what that looks like, but it's pretty clear for us. I'll try and say here contest and pressure about 5 different ways if you want, but effectively that's where it all started and where it all finished. They had 90 odd tackles and 50 of those plus in the second half. Their pressure rating was really high for across the day. A rare number that we lose is contested possession. We never lose that number. And we were beaten in that tonight. So, and all of it happened in the second half.
It just seemed like the energy I think you mentioned the energy just went completely away in the second half. And as the game went on, Port Adelaide were just running pretty much over the top of you guys. Can you put your finger on what happened?
Oh, not really. I mean, it's something we'll probably look at in a couple of days, and obviously we've got a couple of days to get some rest. We had the shorter break, so we'll just sort of have a look at the game and sort of see where we fell down. But look, we certainly didn't have the run in the second half. So particularly the last quarter, when the game needed to be won. So we'll have a look at why and whether we could have managed it better, and that being still the case, how we could have still probably just held in the wrestle for a little bit longer. And late in the game with 5 minutes to go, just sort of felt like we had to try and create something a little bit different to throw at them. But then a couple of plays that we did have, we just couldn't finish. And their intercepting in the second half became a bit of a factor, and getting the ball to ground was was a bit of a struggle. So pass it on to the credit to Port. They were too good. And certainly their second half was pretty impressive.
How much does the 5-day break come into it, or is it something you try not to factor in too much?
It has to be a little bit. I mean, it's not, I could sit here and say it's not a factor, but the reality is it has something to do with it. What we don't do, though, as a football club, is that we use that as a reason for the loss. So, we manage that through the week as best we possibly can. There's always advantages and disadvantages in this draw. Sometimes you have the advantage, and sometimes you have the disadvantage. But you still got to be able to find a way to be able to play consistent no matter what, and that's still something that we are trying to achieve, not just game to game, but over the course of the season. And we've still got 4 weeks to go, and we're still in a good position on the ladder. So we've got to finish strong.
When did it become clear you wouldn't have Harry for tonight?
Pretty late. We waited sort of for most of the day to sort of see whether he'd come better, but no, he's just too crook. So the decision was made to make the change and not sort of force the issue. And we made the call, reasonably late once the coaches sort of arrived here at the game.
And just, I know he passed all the tests earlier in the week. Was it anything to do with the head knock or something?
Nah, he had a great week. Like, he trained, got through all the training sessions, got through everything. So no, he was ill and got crook and couldn't play. So.
Fossy, how much did you miss Harry tonight? I mean, to your point before about the Port defenders starting to get on top in the second half, how much did you feel like you missed him as well as Tom and Blake, and obviously losing Cunningham early?
I think what we've prided ourselves on for a few years now is that we've got a next man up mentality, and I think we've found some unbelievable games, or had some unbelievable games, where we've just found a way. And despite the personnel, and I think there was still an opportunity for us to do that. The first half showed it. So, when you're looking at performances, I don't think that's the rock you need to flip. We've got an effort and intensity that we need to be able to have in the game. We've got expectations around what we need our contest to look like. We lost that drive around the ball. Their midfield was too good, and we couldn't get any drive from that part of the game. So that's the story for me.
At its best, your midfield's probably one of the most potent in the comp, but it seems like the last month it's been pretty down by its own lofty standards. I mean, how have you sort of seen that, and how much of it is a concern for you heading into the last month?
Not a concern. It's not a concern. It's a challenge, though. I'll back the men that are in there, though. So they're competitive, and they're always looking to get better. And the one thing I know they don't like is losing. They don't like losing a contest, let alone 4 points. But we've got to acknowledge we got beaten in there today. So don't say that often. And it's not me putting that on them. It's just that's the fact, and that's the story of the game. And so we have to accept the story for what it is, and we have to get better.
Is it a concern that it's almost, in recent weeks, it's almost back to the bad old days of Cripps or bust a bit in the midfield? Is that a bit of a concern as well, or not?
Well, I don't know what the bad old days used to look like, mate. So,
yeah. Not from
so I'll just say that it takes a team to get the needle to move, and I think we're well and truly invested all in that. So I don't see anything different, and I don't think that just because Patrick Cripps is in good form that should count against the others. He's a great player, and he's got his standing in this game for a very good reason. He's captain of our football club. He's had an outstanding season. But we know that to be the team we need to be, it takes a tribe, and we've got to build 4, 5, 6 people through that midfield, like we do through the defence and like we do up forward. So it's not all about Charlie. It's not all about Weeders. It's not all about Cripper.